Hey guys, this is the last day that you have to get involved with the Xbox giveaway on the channel this month. Like, subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified when I put a video live, because I will be doing another giveaway next month. It'll be something different, very likely a PS4 this time round, but this is the last day that you have involved to get involved with the Xbox giveaway. So make sure you leave comments on all the videos that you can. Go over to Claytano as well, because I believe his giveaway is ending today as well. He is giving away a PS4. So this is the last day. Get your comments in. I'm going to draw on Sunday, and then I'll let you guys know by next week who has won the Xbox. I'll be shipping it worldwide, remember. So I want to go over a game that I had today. I'm going to do another one of those kind of I've played the game and I'm going to commentate over it. The reason being is that I'm still at the Riot offices for LEC, and the reason I haven't uploaded for 2 days now is because it's been very difficult with the internet at my apartment to actually upload a video. So I have to come into the Riot offices and I have to book some time in one of their sound booths or one of the meeting rooms to actually get some recording done. And that's why it's making it very difficult for me to actually record something, because it's just like way harder than at home. When I'm at home, I've got my great microphone, I've got my great studio set up, but when I'm here in Berlin, it's a little bit more difficult. From Sunday onwards, which is when I get back from Berlin, I will have complete 100% YouTube schedule back on track. So I'm hoping to upload for the rest of the week. It just takes a little bit extra effort. So you can see here I locked an Ogre Mage. Now, mostly I would never do this, but because of the current meta being pretty much 100% Beast Warrior and Beast Warrior, Beast Warrior, some more Beast Warrior and Beast Warrior, I've decided to myself that actually mages are pretty strong. And 6 mages specifically are pretty strong, and the way that you build 6 mages is by having Ogre Mage as a frontliner alongside with a Pirate Captain, and you essentially just have to burst people down before they can burst you. And it works really well in this current meta because there isn't many 6 Knight builds, and really 6 Knight builds are the one build that mages generally tend to struggle with. So mages in this current meta are really good, and plus the fact that Beast Warriors are so popular, Glacier Knight is so popular, and Gods are pretty popular. You don't see like a huge amount of Assassins as well. Assassins in general aren't that good on this meta, but just because Beast Warriors are just so popular. In fact, Warriors in general, you don't just see Beast Warrior, you can see 9 Warriors, you can see Warrior Glacier. Just Warriors in general right now are super popular, so you need to build things that are generally good against those. And 6 Mages is one of the good builds that can deal with Beast Warrior pretty effectively, to be honest with you, because they don't build too much magic resist in their builds. They don't usually build a Marine, unless they go for the Siren build. But even then, 6 Mages generally do well against just 2 Marines because it's only a small amount of magic resist, whereas 6 Mages obviously reduces magic resist by a lot. And 6 Mages was buffed quite a few updates ago, so it's in a pretty good spot right now. So what I'm doing over the first few rounds is essentially looking to pair up as much as I can. I'm also going to buy any Ogre Mages that I see, even though it might seem like a weird thing to do. Ogre Mage 3 is a pretty important part of a 6 Mage composition because you have very limited frontline. Like, you've got super limited frontline when you're playing 6 Mages composition. So you need to have Ogre Mage 3 because it's basically going to be one of your 2 tanks. You've got Pirate Captain and you've got Ogre Mage 3. That's essentially all you've got. To actually get there, it's very easy to pick up Ogre Mage and then pick up the Source and Thunder Spirit and just go for early mages. Like 3 mages early on isn't too bad, and it's a good way to just sort of try and beat out a lot of the early warriors as well, because obviously warriors are just 3 warriors, a small amount of armor, but they've got absolutely no magic resist. So 3 mages early on can be pretty good. I would recommend a Flaming Wizard early on because when you have low unit volume, so like between 3 and 5 units, Flaming Wizard is gonna one-shot people if you get her to level 2. So Flaming Wizard is a really good unit to have early on in a 6 Mage build, and she can become a core part of the build later on as well. You do have quite a few mages to select from, with God of Thunder being a thing, so you don't have to worry too much about which mages that you get in there, but the core mages that you're always going to need is Ogre Mage, Source, Thunder Spirit is good, and Tortola Elder. Those are the 4 that like make up the core of the 6 Mage build, and then it's kind of up to you what you want. I would always recommend having a God of Thunder in there, simply because God of Thunder is just good. So if you get the opportunity to get God of Thunder, he can one-shot things, and he's very powerful. I would always think that Blight Sorcerer is good versus Assassins, Blight Sorcerer is good versus Glacier, Blight Sorcerer is good versus Warriors, so Blight Sorcerer is a nice addition. Feathered Dragon I think is probably the worst of the options, but if you get him to level 3, he can be super powerful. And Flaming Wizard isn't great either, but she's good early game, so sometimes people just end up getting a Flaming Wizard 2 and they kind of just stick with her as that 6th mage all the way through. So what I'm doing here is you'll notice that I'm just trying to build as many pairs as physically possible, and what you'll see is I've actually picked up some beasts early on, Poisonous Worm and Werewolf. So actually Poisonous Worm, because I've got a Magica Crystal, can I say that word? Magica Crystal, wow, I can't actually say that word. Because I've got a Magica Crystal, Poisonous Worm actually becomes a very, very strong unit, just for the simple fact that he actually generates a lot of wormies. So if you have any mana generation items and you pick up a Poisonous Worm early on, he's actually a really good mid-game carry. Not only that, actually he synergizes really well with Ogre Mage as well, because, as you'll see, Ogre Mage actually gives the buff to the Poisonous Worm Plague Wards, simply because of, well, when he gets level 2 anyway, you'll see it. And those Plague Wards have got a lot of damage. And you can see they actually start to deal a significant amount of damage to the enemy, also by slowing their attack speed too. So Ogre Mage and Poisonous Worm have got this really weird, unique synergy, where actually Ogre Mage gives the attack speed buff over to the Poisonous Worm Wormy Boys, and they actually deal a lot of damage because they have high damage output. But you'll see me pick up pretty much all of these Ogre Mages that I can in the early game, because it is important for 6 mages that you push towards having Ogre Mage 3. I haven't really picked up any other mages in the early game, which has been a little bit of a worry. At this point, I was thinking, well, do I consider going Beast Warrior this video? But then Beast Warrior is just like every build ever. And to be honest, 6 mages is, I think, a really strong build just in the current meta. It's also the build that the old previous Japanese #1 Asian player used all the time, and I think it's a really strong build in this update. I want you to pay attention to the builds that I'm facing up against here. This guy has gone for like a weird god build. He's got like Warpwood Sage, he's got Skull Hunter, and he's got the Goblin mechs in there. Actually, that's not a bad way to sort of transition gods early. You don't have to go for god mages early. You can just pick up units that have got good abilities. Skull Hunter's got a decent damage ability. Warpwood Sage has got a lot of healing. Like, actually, they all work really well with gods, and I really like what he did there. So I was considering a Beast Warrior up until the point that I picked up 2 Thunder Spirits, and then when I got 2 Thunder Spirits, I was like, okay, this is basically a sign. Thunder Spirit is one of the core mid-game units for mages, so I was like, okay, now I'm gonna basically be going mages. I obviously still have nearly a level 2 Werewolf and nearly a level 2 Wormy Boy, but I don't have any of the other warriors to compensate. So I was said, basically the way I'm approaching this game now is, okay, I'm gonna have a level 2 Wormy Boy, I'm gonna have a level 2 Werewolf. What I'm gonna do with these units is they're going to transition me out of the mid game. They're going to be basically provide as much power for me in the mid game as physically possible, and then I'm going to sell them, and I'm eventually going to replace them for other things. One of the mistakes that I did make is you'll probably see me pass up a lot of feathered dragon, or shining dragons rather. That was a mistake on my part. Shining Dragon actually could have got me the 6 mage buff much earlier in this game, and I was passing up on it quite a lot because I was a little bit in minds about, I was very, very keen on hitting the right economy levels, and I was really keen on selling things to hit breakpoints. It's because something else that's happened here is obviously I've got a lot of 3-cost units in the field, which has actually meant that by round 9, I don't have any economy. I'm also 1 gold off getting up to level 6, so I'm actually not in a great space in terms of my economy this game, because I've just invested in a lot of 3-cost units. Like you can see, I've got 2 1-cost units, but everything else is a 3-cost unit. I've got the 2 Thunder Spirits, I've got the Wormy Boys, and I've got the Werewolf. So I've actually spent a lot of gold on units this game, which has put me behind on economy. And these units are all they don't synergize. You know, they're not building into the same build. So it's not like I've spent that. Well, what is it in total? 3, 9, so 9, 12, 15. I spent 21 gold on 3-cost units this game, and 6 of that is the Thunder Spirits, which don't synergize very well with Poisonous Worm, which was 9 gold. The only synergy that I could draw is if I was going to go Human Mages this game with the Werewolf, which was definitely a possibility. But I think, given the builds that I was seeing, 6 Mages was just better. I also like 6 Mages into Gods a bit better, just simply because you can usually burst the Gods out before they burst you, which is generally what happens. The only problem with my build is that it doesn't really fit a Storm Shaman in very easily unless it's level 2. So going up against other mage or other god mage builds was going to be a bit difficult. But for the most part, I was pretty happy trying to work my way towards 6 mages despite being behind in economy. And what you'll see is I actually delayed the level up to level 6, even on this round here, because I had a Wormy Boy 2. I knew that I was going to beat the rock golems. So as soon as I won this rock golem round, then I could put the experience into getting to level 6, keep up with the curve, and then work that way. So yeah, basically that's what I was going to attempt to do here after I did the Rock Golems, I was like, okay, this is a good sign. I've got another Ogre Mage 2. I have 5 gold exactly. Let's stick him on the field. I've got more tanks. So essentially, I'm 100% relying on Wormy Boy to carry me here. The unfortunate part of this is that I saw the source and I was like, okay, now I've got like a potential mage buff to work with. So I actually have the 3 mages now, but I don't think that they were stronger than the Wormy Boy, so I didn't want to get rid of the Wormy Boy. But what I did end up getting rid of is the Soulbreaker, which I thought was probably worth it overall. What you'll find is that it probably wasn't worth it. I started to take a lot of damage at this point forward, but I think that's a decision that I know now, playing 6 mages in the future, that actually Thunder Spirit level 1 isn't particularly strong, so giving him just like it's basically the only person that you're giving the mage buff is Thunder Spirit 1, so it wasn't a particularly strong unit to give the mage buff to. I think because I was expecting to hit a Thunder Spirit too soon, I was like, okay, the mage buff's probably worth it, but I invested into that a little bit too early. And you can see that my economy is in all kind of states right now. Very, very, very rough position with the economy situation that I'm in, because I'm at round 12 with 19 gold. I mean, I'm way behind the curve where I'd usually like to be. I'd usually like to be around 30 gold at this point, so just massively, massively behind the curve. In terms of positioning, you might wonder why I'm pushed so far up here. The reason I'm pushed so far up in this situation is because I want Wormy Boy to be able to start attacking whoever he has to attack without having to move forward. Essentially, I need him to spawn his Wormy Boys, his Plague Wards, as soon as physically possible, because he's kind of one of the main carries of my mid game here, and with 2 Magicka Crystals, I don't want to waste 1 to 2 seconds of just like moving him. I also need to give him room, which is why I've kind of given him space around. You can see that this guy absolutely decimated me. This is where the losses start to take effect. That's Beast Warrior for you. Beast Warrior is just unbelievable. Beast Warrior is just such a ridiculous build right now, and it's very, very, very difficult to beat. I'm hoping it gets nerfed. I think they might end up nerfing Beast rather than the Warrior, because they just buff Warrior. But in general, it's just such a ridiculous build at this point in time. So from here on out, I am not thinking about leveling up. If I was on a win streak here, I would be using this 15 gold to try and get to the next level. But I'm not on a win streak, as you can tell. I'm basically trying to manage my economy. I want to be around 40 to 50 gold by round 15. So I only buy the absolutely necessary things. All I'm going to buy is another Thunder Spirit or another Werewolf, or I'll pick up the Source. That's it. That's all I'm going to buy here. Maybe if I can afford it, Ogre Mage here or there as well. But as you can see, I'm now facing up against these very sort of established warrior builds. I don't really have much damage. In fact, I have next to no damage. The only damage that I do have is Wormy Boy, and the only other damage that I have is a level 1 Thunder Spirit, which is not really going to do much. The other thing that I'm facing is that a lot of people have picked up very early Storm Shamans, which means that with the Cave Clan bonus that you're seeing going on, they're just getting that Storm Shaman ultimate off, and I'm just really not getting anything done, because Wormy Boy gets silenced by Doom. I also get the Storm Shaman silenced. There's a lot of damage, so you can see that I start to take quite a bit of damage in these situations. I pick up the Source here. This is a nice source to pick up because it essentially leaves me at 30 gold. So I accidentally just stopped the recording there. The reason I can't stream right now is I'm from the Riot offices, and there's privacy reasons involved that I can't stream from the offices because there isn't really any dedicated areas that allow you to stream. So that's why I can't do it here. And the internet at my apartment is 1 megabit a second. So there's just absolutely no way that I can do it from the apartments that I'm staying in right now. So I'll be back to streaming next week, and then I go on holiday for 2 weeks. So to be honest, my streaming schedule is going to be a bit all over the place. But when I'm on holiday, I will ensure that I've got enough video content to last the few weeks that I'm away. That's the most important thing to me. So you can see that I do like the synergy between the Ogre Mage and the Wormy Boy. You can see actually that the Plague Wards, which have 137 damage, are getting like loads and loads of attack speed. And actually that's really helpful for something like the Wolf round. Something that mage builds classically struggle with is always going to be those neutral rounds. So having Wormy Boy, having the Kira buff, the attack speed buff, is actually really, really powerful, because that helps me get through some of these neutral rounds. You can see here that I'm in a rough spot with economy. Like, I can't sell anything because I have all of these things as pairs that can help me do better, in terms of preserving HP. So I can't sell anything to get above the threshold, and I'm not going to get any extra gold from the wolf pack, so I'm in a pretty rough spot. That's why I decided to roll, because I was like, okay, well, I can't get past the threshold here, so I might as well take the rolling opportunity. The reason I positioned like this is I wanted to protect Wormy Boy, I wanted to protect Thunder Spirit as much as possible. I wanted to lock one of my Ogre Mages in, because that would have meant that he won't jump out the way of the wolves. and essentially wanted to give myself the best chance of beating this round. It is a pretty rough round for a mage build to beat, but because I've got the Wemmy Boy with the attack speed buff from the Kira, it's actually not a bad situation to be in. And you can see that actually Wemmy Boy has carried me through a lot of rounds that I wouldn't have normally been able to get through, which has been insane. I also have the 3 out of, you'll notice in a second, I also have 3 out of 4 parts of Refresher Orb, which in a game with 6 mages, Refresher Orb is insane because it's all about the abilities that you use. So Refresher Orb would work really well on something like Pirate Captain. Refresher Orb would also work really well on something like God of Thunder, Tortola Elder, for instance, although Tortola Elder has a wind-up time on his ultimate, which makes it a little bit less useful. But overall, like, Refresher Orb's a really, really good ability to have. What's the word I'm looking for? It is a really, really good item to have in a 6 mage comp in general, and I have 3 out of the 4 parts of it. I just need 1 more Ring of Life, and because people now drop their items, it makes it much, much more likely that I can pick up one of these legendary items and actually come out on top. So I actually ended up selling off, as you saw, the Feathered Dragon, the Shining Dragon, to get up to 40 gold, to try and push myself a little bit further in terms of economy, because I want to basically keep leveling up on curve where I can. So I want to go. I'm going to go to level 7 on the next turn where possible. I only have 51 HP now. 51 HP is not too bad to be around 50 gold, and you can see here that I've just picked up Thunder Spirit as well. So instead of going up to level 7 this time, I'm going to put 1 lot of experience in. The reason I'm going to put 1 lot of experience in is it keeps me above 40 gold. I was going to do it next turn anyway, so it's not going to affect my income. And it also means that next time I can go up to level 7 and put in whatever I like. Level 2 Thunder Spirit is also a pretty cool unit for a mage build in general, so getting that is a really nice upgrade. Doesn't mean I'm going to start winning yet. As you can see, I don't really have much damage still. Like, Ogre Mage is garbage for damage. He is really bad. He's mainly a tank for your 6 mages. So I need to start looking for things like Flaming Wizard. I need Tortola Elder as a matter of priority. I need Feathered Dragon if I can't find any of the legendaries, you know. So I'm looking for Tortola Elder, I'm looking for Flaming Wizard, I'm looking for a lot of things to help me get this this mage build on the road. And something that you're going to see here over the next few rounds is that as soon as I get past round 21, I'm getting to level 8, I'm going to roll all my gold away. Because I'm at 37 HP, I'm not exactly winning. These rounds aren't exactly close. I know that I'm in trouble. Like, I'm in a rough spot right here. So the best thing that I can do for this build right now is get to level 8, and then essentially get to level 8 and then essentially look for a legendary to complete my 6 mages if I don't want to go for the basic 6 mages of Flaming Wizard and Shining Dragon. But in general, I'm essentially looking to do that. That's the only way that this build, I'm going to be wrecked to sort of get myself out of this situation. I rolled pretty heavily there just to find myself a good and competent 7th unit. That 7th unit was really important to me because I wanted something that's going to deal extra damage, and having 2 Thunder Spirits now means that I'm making a bit more use out of that mage buff, which I wasn't previously making much use out of. I'm also giving space over to my Wormy Boy. You're seeing me give a lot of space over to Wormy Boy because he's still a significant carry for me. Like, he's still dealing a lot of damage, and you can see here I did actually dealt a load of damage. So I'm beating like the middle level people, but I'm also losing to the top level people. So I know that I'm in a pretty dire spot when it comes to I'm in a pretty dire spot when it comes to beating the upper end of the table. So I'm going to basically save over the next few rounds. The reason I'm going to save over the next few rounds is I'm going to save on round 19. I'm going to save on round 20 because I should beat the Lethal Ursa, and I'm going to roll down to 8 like I would do normally. And then I'm going to try and find the 6 mages. I need Tortola Elder. I need any kind of legendary mage because that will make it much, much easier for me. And I need to find that 6th mage, which is either going to be Shining Dragon or I'd preferably want Flaming Wizard. The reason I'd preferably want Flaming Wizard is when I bring in Pirate Captain, I'll have the 4 human bonus, which will be very useful in the late game for silencing key targets. So that's my order of preference in terms of finding this complete mage build. But you can see I'm still getting crushed like by Beast Warriors. This is the guy in 2nd place. Like, Beast Warrior is just such an obnoxious build right now, and he has a level 2 Storm Shaman also. So I'm at 20 HP. I'm in like real death territory here. Like, this is not close. This is like 1 round against a Beast Warrior and you're done. Like, you're just dead. That's it. Over. Game over. I did find the Tortola Elder, which was a really big upgrade for me. And what you're going to see me do here, I'm considering like a 3 werewolf, but then I realised, wait a second, I've got 9 gold sitting on my bench. I can get myself over 50 gold if I just sell all of them off. And then that'll give me a much healthier place to roll down to 8 with, and then I have much more gold to find the units that I need. Because when I find Pirate Captain, Werewolf's going. Like, Werewolf is getting thrown in the bin as soon as I find Pirate Captain, because Werewolf is not that good in 6 mages. He's a good tank, but he takes up a spot that you would rather use for something else. So you can see me consider it throughout this round. I'm like, wait a second, I've got 9 gold on my bench. Like, let's just sell everything, get up to 51. That gives me a good spot for... This gives me a pretty good spot for getting level 8. And then I'm going to get to level 8 and I'm going to roll my way down. Like, I am just looking for the absolute core units for this build. And so you get to level 8, gives me the chance of legendaries. I'm going to pick up a couple of things that I think are good, like Shadow Devil is a pretty good addition. Helicopter is a brilliant addition to this lineup, by the way, because the magic damage is insane. I'm basically looking at things that are going to start to make my life a lot easier. And as you can see here, picking up God of Thunder, actually just ridiculous. And that's where Wemmy Boy goes in the bin. Like, Wemmy Boy's in the bin at this point. Like, God of Thunder is like 10 times better in this situation. Even though I haven't got 6 mages activated right now, God of Thunder is going to give me many, many more outs versus these Beast Warrior builds, as you can see, as well as having the helicopter on board too, which is just amazing. So you can see now I'm going up against the guy in 3rd place. I had a much, much better performance versus this guy in 3rd place. It was very close, don't get me wrong, but it was a much better performance. And now I'm looking for my 6th mage, essentially. Now this is where I wish I'd kept like 1 Shining Dragon lying around somewhere. But unfortunately I didn't. So, like I said, the ideal scenario for me would be finding a Flaming Wizard. Like, Flaming Wizard would give me the six mage buff. Really lucky that I picked up Tortola Elder 2, by the way. That was just such an insane thing. I got Pirate Captain also, and that means I'm going to say, like, Pirate Captain 1 is worth selling Werewolf off here because I've got a good amount of defensive items, plus just his boat is much, much more useful than just having a random Werewolf. So yeah, now I'm looking just basically for Flaming Wizard. Just need anything that's going to be useful in terms of getting that 6 mage buff online. And also the 4 human buff would be really, really useful overall compared to just having like a random Shining Dragon in there. So now I'm going to start to be much, much, much better at dealing with people because of the God of Thunder. Like, I was very, very lucky to find God of Thunder. Luckily, I set myself up for the position where I would find it. Like, that's the thing that you've got to remember when it comes to luck and RNG in this game. If you set yourself up to get lucky and you are rewarded, that's because you made a good decision as well as mixed with a lot of luck. I knew that I needed level 8. I knew that I needed to roll my way down to 0 to keep myself in this game. Those are 2 decisions that I made to put myself in this game and make myself essentially much, much more powerful overall. You can see I'm keeping the Shadow Devil around here. The reason I'm keeping the Shadow Devil around here is because he's a lot of damage. He's level 2, that's a lot of damage. I'm primarily looking for level 9 eventually to slot him in, because otherwise I'm just probably not going to slot him in effectively. But yeah, now I've got the Flaming Wizard. That's insane, actually. I forgot that this happened here. And Shadow Devil can come out at this point because the 6 mage bonus is much, much better than Shadow Devil. And now I'm basically economizing. I'm not going to roll too much. The only major upgrade that I'm going to get from this point forward is either going to be Pirate Captain 2. But look how much damage I do now. Just like how I melt people. Like look at how I melt people now. I've got 6 mages online. And with God of Thunder, 6 mages with God of Thunder is just a really powerful combination. So this is why I really like this build. And if you don't have God of Thunder, that can be Blight Sorcerer, that can be Shining Dragon, and you won't deal as much damage, but you'll be very strong. Now I've also got Pirate Captain 2. Like, this is peak build now. I basically just need to get Ogre Mage 3, get to level 9, and then put on Shadow Devil, and I've just basically got my ultimate composition. So we were in a rough spot. Like, this was a really, really rough game from this point. And now we've kind of put ourselves into a much better position because we were essentially looking for the outs. I'm also very close to a Orb of Refresh on my God of Thunder, which, by the way, is ridiculous because he generates all of his mana back with his ultimate. So he essentially gets his first ultimate and then generates all of his mana back with his second ultimate. So if you get the Orb of Refresh, that's basically 2 God of Thunder ults in a row, which is quicker than a God's build can do it. Because you get the instant refresh on the God of Thunder build. So if you get the first God of Thunder ult, you can kill off the entire God comp before they even get their God of Thunder ult off as well. So it's just a super strong thing to have on board. You'll see me make a massive mistake with the items eventually, which causes me to weaken my build significantly. But I'm not going to tell you what happens. If you can comment it down below, that would be funny. But it's pretty obvious what happens. I make a huge error. But you can see now I'm basically saving gold. I'm on the neutral round. I've got no need to roll. I want to get to a position where, I think in 4 rounds time, I'm going to be able to roll up to level 9 and put the Shadow Devil on, because that basically makes my composition super strong. Super strong. And I don't think anybody would be able to beat me based on the people that we have in this build. Like, there's a couple of like mech players, there's a goblin assassins, there's a couple of feathered players. Like, mages beat Beast Warrior, mages beat feathered, they beat goblin mech. Depending on the right circumstances, 6 mages can beat gods too as well. I mean, 6 mages is just a super strong comp. And having the helicopter on as well makes it really good. So you can see I'm actually beating the neutral rounds as well, which is really nice. I also picked up a Wraith Shard, which is brilliant. I actually make some ridiculous items this game. I want to talk a bit about them when I get there, but I make some really dumb items this game because of the item drops, which is just insane. I do pick up Flaming Wizard here, just for the simple fact that Flaming Wizard 2 would be a tiny upgrade. Like, it's not going to be that much of an upgrade realistically, but it would be a tiny upgrade that would be fairly useful. So having a Flaming Wizard 2 would be nice. That's why I'm just picking it up. But I'm not picking up the Source or anything like that. It's a waste of gold. My gold should be going and saving towards leveling at this point in time. Because I basically want to ensure that I can get level 9, because if I don't get level 9, I'm probably doing myself a disservice versus some of the builds later in the game. And you can see this is the guy who's playing gods, by the way. Not playing a traditional god build, but maybe if he was playing a traditional mage god build, like, this would have gone much worse for me. But because he hadn't really transitioned out of that early game god build that he was playing, we end up beating him pretty easily. Like, it's not really been close versus that top player, and I think now I'm in a really strong position with my god build, my 6 mage build, to be able to beat pretty much anyone on the field. You can see here that obviously I'm just giving the items across. The reason there are people that I want to give items to. Give item to Helicopter because he's got such an insane damaging ultimate across such a big area in a 6 mage build. And I'm giving all of my defensive items over to my Pirate Captain for the simple reason that if Pirate Captain can get 2 ults off in a fight, that's just insane. So you can see here, like, I've basically set my Pirate Captain up to be a super tank, and in a 6 mage build, having a super tank is really important because you just don't have many tanks. So again, nothing that I want to buy here. I'm just chilling. I know that in 2 rounds time, I'll have a potential to level up on curve, so I'm saving my gold for that situation where I might want to level up on curve, because that level 9 will be really important to me as the game goes on. I've managed to bring myself out of a pretty big hole because of that God of Thunder, realistically. But I am keeping my eyes on what people are building, because if this guy picks up... I mean, I don't know why he's not fielding his Storm Shaman. Like, Storm Shaman seems like it would be a no-brainer here. Because he's got a level 2-1 as well, but he's not fielding it right now. He does field it eventually, which is good, but he's not fielding it right now, which is obviously causing him a massive issue when it comes to facing me like this, because I'm just beating him every time. And you can see just all of these items being thrown my way, by the way. If I get thrown 1 Ring of Life, like, I'm in a situation where I've got like a ridiculous... if I get 1 Ring of Life, I've got like a ridiculous Orb of Refresh on my God of Thunder, which is just, insane. Like, that would be such a big upgrade for me. I think it would essentially win me this game, which is where my head's at. It's like, if I get an Orb of Refresh on my God of Thunder, like, this game's over. I've won. And you can see here now, I'm like, okay, this is like level 9 territory. I knew that I would have to sell off something. I knew I was pretty close, but I'm very happy not getting a Flaming Wizard 2 because she's such a tiny upgrade for me overall. It's not worth it. Like, I'm not that bothered about Flaming Wizard 2 for the pure fact that it's just negligible damage realistically. It's good like single target, but like, you're all about AoE bursting people in this game. When you're playing 6 mages, so it's just about bursting as many people as possible. She's also a good human silence, which I do need to pay attention to. Like, having a good human silence is always nice. He did eventually put his Storm Shaman on, but again, like, my mana generation is just really strong with God of Thunder specifically. And God of Thunder, like, because he's got those mana generation items, is basically bursting out an entire team before they get a chance to respond, which is really nice. And we've gone on a massive win streak just from finding those 6 mages, which has been such a huge boon for me this game because I was in a situation where I was almost out. Now I'm level 9, I'm not concerned about level 10, there's nothing else that I really want to bring on. So it's now about 3-starring my Ogre Mage. It's also about maybe finding a lucky upgrade for 2-star on my God of Thunder. I'm also potentially looking at getting a level 2 Flaming Wizard, which is okay as well. But everything is kind of there for me. The Orb of Refresh is obviously important, but everything else is kind of there for me. When it comes to getting this build completely online. So I repositioned and put my Flaming Wizard at the front because I didn't want my Thunder Spirit to take all the damage before, essentially being able to cast his ability. Neither did I want him to get silenced, which he did here by that Storm Shaman. Very luckily, we get bailed out by God of Thunder here because this guy was so close to potentially ruining my day with a very good Storm Shaman ultimate. You'll also notice that at some point, which, by the way, Ring of Life, watch me screw up. I'm like, yes, Orb of Refresh, and I did it on my helicopter. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, I've got to sell my helicopter. Like, this, you just can't not sell your helicopter in this situation. Even though helicopter's just such a ridiculously good unit in a 6-mage build, I had to sell my helicopter. There's just nothing that I could do here. Like, I needed that Orb of Refresh. Like, Orb of Refresh was just so important. You can also see that I've got a lot of other good items. As you can see here, like, I just got a Barbaric Cuirass on my Pirate Captain, which is just such a ridiculously good upgrade. Now I'm basically looking like crazy just for something to field as my 9th unit, which you can see here is going to be another Tortola Elder. I also have loads of other items to figure out. So I'm basically just looking for whoever I want to put them on. I put the attack damage stuff onto my Tortola Elder because I want him to cast his ultimate as quickly as possible. I also end up finding another Barbaric Cuirass to put on my Ogre Mage, which at level 3 would be insane. Like, I've just managed to stack like a ridiculous number of items. I've also got loads of magic resist reduction items flying around with too many people to like put them on at this point in time. So like, I'm actually reducing magic resist by a significant amount. You see that I end up selling off my Tortola Elder. Funny thing here, because I have the egg, I probably could have got a Tortola Elder 3 this game with the amount of Tortola Elders I end up finding, but it's just not worth it to try and gamble on it. It's better to try and go for a 3-star on my Ogre Mage, which is end up wanting to do. I'm also keeping the egg for a potential 2-star upgrade to my God of Thunder. And you can see here, this guy's now also got a teleporting Devastator, which is massive because that's something that can ruin your day as a mage player because it's a huge amount of physical damage. So I need to pay attention to this teleporting Devastator as this game goes on, and that's going to be so key for positioning as we progress throughout this game, because I need to silence that. Like, I need to silence the Devastator. And I wasn't too worried about it at this point in time, so I was like, well, I'm just beating everyone anyway, so what's the big deal? But it's something that you definitely need to pay attention to. I definitely needed to pay attention to as this game progressed, because it's a very big deal. I find the Flaming Wizard too, which is a nice little upgrade. It gives me some more single target damage, and I'm going to start to pay attention to that Devastator very soon. The reason I'm going to start paying attention to the Devastator is because if you watch on this guy's board, and I'll show you eventually anyway, he beats me. So he beats me for the very first time for quite some time. I'm also not positioned in the best place against this other god player. I'm not too worried about the guy that I'm facing here. He doesn't really have the damage to get through me quick enough before I burst him out with my God of Thunder. So this guy's like the least of my worries. This is the Beast Warrior player. He's not a particularly big deal. But if you go and have a look at the first place guy, and I'll show you in just a second, he beat me. So now I need to be very concerned about playing versus the god player, and that's why I can see that he's positioned on the other side of the board. So I don't want to have my units move over the board to generate mana. I need to basically go toe-to-toe with him in terms of positioning. I also need to spread out ever so slightly too. So what I'm going to end up doing here is moving my units over and trying to be a bit better positioned versus this guy. I also want my Dark Spirit to cast his ultimate. I'm going to spread out just a little bit. I'm not too worried about the Beast Warrior player because I have God of Thunder. Like, Beast Warrior player with God of Thunder is just, I'm going to kill him anyway. It's really not that big of a deal. But you can see that I split my positioning slightly. I also position my humans so that his Devastator can't actually get his ultimate off quickly, which he didn't. We silenced him. And that's something that you're going to see me do throughout the end of this game a lot. I'm most concerned, most concerned with making sure that my humans silence the teleporting Devastator. It's like the most important thing that I can do in this situation. I just need to silence the teleporting Devastator. Getting a level 3 Ogre Mage would be really nice here as well, because that would give me another really solid tank. But you can see here he hasn't really cottoned on to the positioning that I've got. And I'm basically like, okay, well, I've got these 3 humans here. I just want them all to attack the Devastator. So I've positioned my Tortola Elder, my Source, and my Flaming Wizard on the back line, so that when the Devastator teleports in, all 3 of them attack him. And that essentially gives me a guaranteed silence. It's not 100% guaranteed, but if I don't silence it, I'm incredibly unlucky. And you can see here it worked a charm. Got it off, bang, and as soon as these... And also, I've also spread out for the Storm Shaman silence as well, obviously, because that is something that will really ruin my day. And with that, I beat him pretty easily here as well. So we're going into the neutral round. I'm not very concerned about the neutral round. I'm not going to use the egg on the Ogre Mage just yet. There is a chance that I use the egg on the Ogre Mage, of course, because if I'm not finding any legendaries, I might as well use it for something. It's better off than it's stagnating in my inventory. And because we have got a Thunder, right, and I have Dark Spirit, this is not a big deal for the Black Dragon King. However, when it comes to positioning, I need to constantly keep an eye when we go into the next few rounds on where his Devastator is, because if I can't silence that Devastator and it teleports into my backline and just deals a boatload of damage, I'm just done. Like I'm just not in a good position. The reason I gave Wraith Shard over to God of Thunder, by the way, is that I want him to attack more quickly with all of his mana generation to get his ultimate off more quickly. Like the more attack speed I give him, the more mana generation he's going to have, and the more quickly he's going to generate his ultimate. Turns out I didn't even need the egg, but I'm keeping the egg just in case I find another God of Thunder. Like a level 2 God of Thunder auto wins me this game. So I'm keeping an eye on what this guy's doing. He is... Like, you can see he's waiting until the very last moment. In terms of my own positioning, I'm having a look around as well. I want to make sure that I'm kind of doing it in a similar position, because I thought he was going to go back to the corner. He started moving things randomly to the middle, so I had to do like some desperation positioning. But this was okay. Like, this was fine. Like, we still got a teleport to the back line. We still got a nice silence onto the Devastator. And we beat him pretty convincingly. On his screen, I think he ended up beating us because he got a good Devastator ultimate off. But for me, like, I managed to get away with it. And this is basically him probably saying that, okay, well, this is the positioning that wins for me. I actually quite like it when this happens in a game, because I know that 99 times out of 100, I'm going to beat him with this positioning. I just need to be a little bit better about positioning with my Flaming Wizard and my humans to make sure that I absolutely guarantee the silence onto his Devastator. So you can see he's basically like, this is it. This is the position that I want. This is like kind of like my thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to make sure that I give a space to the Devastator, but I make sure that all of my humans are ready to attack it as soon as it turns up. And I put my God of Thunder right out the way so it doesn't get silenced. He's also not running Mage buff, by the way, which is weird. He's running a very weird God composition. And he's also running Shaman, which could be a big deal, because if he turns my God of Thunder into a penguin, then I'm done, right? But obviously, for the most part, that's very, very, very unlikely. So you see here that I beat him again with my positioning of my humans. This is why human silence is so important. Desperately looking for a God of Thunder, it didn't happen. So this is the round where I either win or lose. I'm basically looking at his board and waiting for him to like move his Devastator so I can frantically move my humans into position. But if he doesn't move, I'm in a great spot. What he should have done was he should have put his Storm Shaman at the front. I have no idea why he didn't put his Storm Shaman at the front, but he should have put his Storm Shaman at the front, because that would have given him a better chance at silencing and beating me. But didn't move his Devastator. The Devastator, again, for the like 5th round in a row, jumps in and gets silenced. We get a God of Thunder ultimate off, which ends up winning me the game. And bang. Defeated him. Come back from 20 HP with 6 mages. And it was a lot of good late game positioning as well, which was really, really good. It was just such a good game, really good. And it also teaches you a lot about late game positioning too, like really, really important. Right, I haven't played many games this season. This was like my 20th game. So I'll be back to playing quite extensively once I get back into the UK. But I hope this was a really helpful game, because it taught me a lot about 6 mages. So I'm trying to teach you a lot about 6 mages as well as late game positioning. So that was good. All right, I'll see you soon.